Welcome, beautiful friends! It's Thursday night, Cindy.
It's Thursday night.
So, honey, what's your week been like since last week we talked about freedom, true freedom, setting all things and all beings free. And in the process, shazam, what do you know? We're setting ourselves free.
It's been an interesting week. It's had some ups and downs.
Ups and downs. Well, yeah. I think I'm going to have a confession time.
Okay.
So, I'm going to confess one of my ups and downs. So, when we truly begin this practice of setting things free, we're really doing the only thing that a soul needs to do, because no soul is ever imprisoned except by our own choices. There is no other soul that can bind a soul. There is no Godhead figure out there commanding that we be this way or that way. We're given utter freedom. So whatever imprisons us, we do to ourselves. And inevitably, we project those out on others, that they're the source, or they're why this needs to be this way, or whatever the case may be. So when we begin to truly free ourselves, and I mean free ourselves, not I'm going to change a negative belief for a positive one. That's a very helpful stage early in your journey. But we're not talking about belief here. We're really freeing our consciousness, freeing Christ's mind, if you will, from beliefs themselves, from memory itself, from the things that bind us. And in the process of freeing others and freeing ourselves, we begin to get in touch with the real power behind all of creation, the real power behind all manifestation, the same power that we're given freely that we use to imprison ourselves and others is the very same power that we awaken to and now use to truly free ourselves. So there's no praying to Jesus or God or someone else to set us free, because they can't. We have to do that because we're the only ones limiting ourselves. No one's doing it to us. Each of us chose to take on and hold the perceptions that we hold. Nobody put a gun to our head, although if you've been to some churches, you might think they're telling you better believe or else. But we still choose to take on those beliefs, perceptions, and whatever, and hold them. So as we begin to set ourselves free, and in our journey, we'll want to. We're really eager early to substitute positive beliefs for negative ones. But once your mind starts to get hold of what it thinks are the right beliefs, the things you're supposed to believe, it's not going to really be too keen to begin to let go of those. But every one of those, even the ones that you now say are right or holy or spiritual, they have their opposite. And you can't truly be free because you'll always be defending a set of beliefs. And you'll always be consciously or unconsciously judging those poor people who don't have the right beliefs. Which is just more of the game of separation. So as we begin to truly free ourselves and truly get in touch with the power that we've used to create our experiences of separation, illusion, fear, whatever you might want to call it, and we begin setting ourselves free, initially through the process of setting others free. But it didn't take many of you long to mention online that as you were doing that, you realized you were freeing yourself. You felt lighter. They may not even be aware of the fact that you've chosen to set them free, but in the process, you're setting yourself free. And that's truly what every soul's journey is all about, is we come to set ourselves free, and we can't be free unless all other beings are absolutely free. So as we begin to get in touch with this real power, we can begin to experience some very powerful energies in our own beings. Whether those come up as frustration or agitation or irritation. I mean, I've heard from people this week, I've heard the word just like an abstract anxiety. I've heard of physical sickness and ailment that just feels like shit. for me, it came out in an explosive projectile at rage directed at a fellow pickleball player. So we're playing pickleball, and there, if anybody's ever played any tennis or pickleball sport, there always seems to be conflict around, was the ball in or was the ball out if it's close to the line. So I hit a ball that my partner and I felt like was very, very comfortably in, but the other team called it out, to which my partner raised an objection. And then the other team starts to talk about it, and back and forth and back and forth, and oh, well, this, and I saw this, and blah, 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 and these are the rules. And we couldn't even play for the delay of game that was the result of this ongoing discussion about. So finally, play resumes. Like 4 points later, the guy is still talking about, well, what I saw. And I bellowed out. I mean, it felt like it came from the center of the earth. I don't give a fuck what happened. Just serve. And I mean, it's like the birds in the trees. Everything stopped. Like the adjoining games, the ball stopped in the air, and all the players whipped around to look. Everything just stopped. And this thunderous boom from the base of my being went rushing out across the court, and the guy immediately starts shaking, and he's trying to serve, and he serves, and play resumes. But it felt so good. Oh my gosh, it felt so good to give some of that power expression. I have approached the guy and apologized to cursing at him and blowing him away over a totally insignificant outcall. But as I rested with it later on, setting myself free that, hey, I did this, doesn't mean I'm bad or wrong, or oh, I should have been all like kumbaya, brother. If you saw it was out, well, it'll just be out every time you say so. Um, uh, but as I sat with it, the actual words resonated deep in my being. I don't give a fuck what has happened. Serve now. Play anew. I don't give a shit about the past. I don't care at all about what any of us have ever done, what the entire history of humanity on this planet, all the mythology, all the stories, all the Christ this, all the Buddha that, all the Genghis Khan, I don't give any of it. It doesn't matter to the nature of my being. It's time to play. And we don't need to talk about the old anymore. We don't need to, go on and on about it to try and come to a consensus or agreement. I don't give a flying fuck. Let's just play the new. So when I really got in touch with what that energy is, instead of judging myself, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh my gosh, that was so mean. Oh, I should be all peace all the time. What I really got in touch with was what's the really deep creative power of my own being, my unique spirit, truly wanting to express. The end of time as I have known it, as we have known it, and it's time to get on with something totally new. And I know some of the others of you in the group have expressed some frustration. Cindy says that you want to share what you described about this thing between freedom and fear, and there's this excitement.
So when we first begin to really get a sense of what being free is, what it feels like, and it's so exhilarating because we have chafed against our own imposed limitations, even if we think somebody's doing it to us. If we move through that stage and we come to the awareness that we're doing it to ourselves, even still, we live a large portion of our life feeling constrained by limitations. And when we get a sense of what freedom is available to us, it is exhilarating. It is such a high. It's so joyous and effervescent in the possibility. Well, now what will I be? And there, it almost feels like the soul is in a little celebration dance. And then we look around and we realize, oh my God, I'm free. What do I do now? What does this mean? Who the hell am I? And that is kind of what Joe Mark has been describing as you get to this, mm, your response to the awareness of your power and authority. And so it's perfectly fine to move through these emotional stages as you come to an awareness. I promise you, it will settle out. Let that emotion arise and express, and apologize later if you need to. But then you come to a place where within your being, you can feel the settling. You can feel the awareness that that contrast between exhilaration and fear, between the sense of freedom and now the I don't know what I'm doing feeling, that begins to settle. And then there becomes this opening, which feels exploratory. It feels curious. It feels rich, ripe with potential. So if you're going through one of those earlier stages, just bear with, it'll settle out, and then you'll be in a place where you can move with confidence into what your new expression is going to be.
Yeah, and it's important at this stage to not pick up all the old tools to try and change how you feel, because you just go back and re-engage a state of consciousness where you weren't free and you were trying to use tools. So it's like you put yourself back in the comfort of your old prison cell in order to try and make yourself feel better, because it's familiar, it's comfortable. Or my mind says, oh, I know what to do when this happens. When I feel like this, I do this practice or this incantation or this breath work or whatever else. You run back into your prison to try and do the techniques that you've learned to change your state of being. But a deeper alchemy is what's really going on with this true freedom, or deeper alchemy in the sense of your, fundamental identity and the nature of your being. And then the next thing that you may experience is, in this state of freedom, the mind will have a fairly long, generous list of all the things that it's interested in, or thinks it wants, but it didn't think it could have because it wasn't free, or the requirements, or the obligations, or the whatever, the whatever, the whatever, the whatever, the whatever. And that stage is appropriate and necessary too, as we let the mind unload its database of what it thought freedom was, or what freedom would get it. But the longer you abide in that, the more you'll realize that the things that the mind wants are all rooted in time, in the past. What you think you were supposed to have, what somebody told you were supposed to have, what you read somebody's spiritual experience was like. And at some point, the mind itself begins to realize, oh my gosh, I don't want anything related to anything I've ever known, because it was all tainted by separation. It was all, I wouldn't have even thought I wanted the things I wanted if I hadn't have felt separate from them. I wouldn't have wanted a loving partner if I wasn't absent from love within myself. I wouldn't have wanted whatever the mind thinks it wants. So as the mind begins to unload those things, or you actually give yourself the freedom to pursue them and you get them, and you realize, well, wait a minute, salvation's not in this thing my mind said it would be. So then we get to face the stark reality of a freedom that we can't define, that we don't know how to orient ourselves in. We don't know how to be in expression from a place of utter profound freedom and liberation. And that can be quite uncomfortable because all of our existence has been our mind choosing from a state of being that it thought was possible or attainable or accessible, or through effort or through striving or through dedication or through luck or prayer or what, something like that. And we get to the point where the mind itself is free from desire rooted in time or separation. Our being is free from what we perceive to be the effects, the emotional effects, or whatever of what we've experienced. And we can come to a very awkward place of almost feeling like we're straddling two worlds: the world that we have known and are familiar with, and how our not mind knows how to orient to, and a freedom that we wanted, but now that we see the vastness of that freedom, the unspecificity of that freedom, the no rules, no way to orient towards this freedom. There are no more shoulds, there are no more shouldn'ts, there are no more musts, there are no more have tos, there aren't any right behaviors, or all that's gone. And we can feel quite lost. We can feel quite uncomfortable. We can feel quite not knowing how to proceed. And inevitably, we will kind of go back and pick up the familiar because it's the only thing we think we have. And the familiar against this unknown that is permeating us can be really, really uncomfortable, because we've only known relationship to the known, or a version of the known that we maybe can imagine. And by that, I mean, you can imagine what your life was like, and you could put together an ideal version of that. And it's you still in the same life, still in a body, still with other bodies. But what do you know? All of a sudden, everybody's happy, and you got plenty of money, and you're never sick, and everybody loves you, and those kind of things. But we're talking about a freedom beyond the freedom of the human condition. We're talking about the freedom of consciousness, the freedom of light, the freedom of awareness itself, to be in relationship to itself in an utterly, utterly new way. So you may be experiencing any and all of these in your own unique ways. There is no standard. They show up for each of us uniquely to us. Someone may have quite acute physical manifestations of it. Somebody may have none of that. Somebody may have emotional outbursts like I had. Somebody else may have just crying fits. Someone else may feel happy-go-lucky, and someone else may feel somewhat paralyzed. All of those things are possible. None of them are wrong. They're all just appropriate expressions of this stage of truly setting oneself free. And by oneself, I'm not talking about our physical personality self. I'm talking about our eternal spirit, our God self. So the question then becomes, well, what is the alternative? I mean, shit. There's got to be a better way, to go back to Helen's thing from the course. There has to be a better way. Okay, the past isn't what I want. I don't want any version of the past, even my shiny, happy-go-lucky, happy dream version of the past. I don't want any of that. I have no clue how to orient to true freedom. I have no idea how to choose from within infinite possibilities. I mean, please don't hand me an infinite menu. Just give me 10 things to pick from. I can do that, and I'll feel relatively good. I won't feel guilty because I picked the wrong thing. But don't give me an infinite menu with no guidance, no nothing. So there must be a better way, and there is. And I'd like to take you on a little bit of a journey and reorient you, hopefully reawaken within your own spirit and bring that forth, so that you remember have the capacity to know how to be in relationship with the unknown, true relationship, and how safe that is, and how natural that is, and how comfortable that is, and how liberating it is, because there's no role left for our mind save to be present to the eternal unfolding of what's new. You think that would be a worthy journey to take, Cindy?
For sure.
For sure?
For sure.
For sure.
For sure.
For sure. So, everybody, if you're willing, and I haven't made this disclaimer as frequently as I should during this series, you please don't take anything Cindy or I say as like the gospel. This is not the gospel of John, Mark, and Cindy. We're just sharing what we're moved to share. It's got to go through your own inner knowing filter. Don't run around and quote us. Don't talk to other people about what we said and what do you think that means. You have to go in your own knowing. You have to bring your own knowing forth. And we're sharing what has come from our own knowing and our own experience. But you are the absolute sovereign and ultimate authority of you. Please take that responsibility upon yourself. If there's anything we share that you think is just total bollocks and bullshit, we'll flush it down the toilet and use what works for you. Is that an appropriate disclaimer? All right.
It's an elaborate and luscious disclaimer.
It is. What do you know? It frees us and it frees them. How about that? Okay. So we are going to reach very, very deep into consciousness itself. And we're going to reach very, very far back in what might be perceived to be time. We're going to go back to the very beginning of our individuated existence itself and even before. So here's the good thing. Your mind has no frigging idea how to do this. So your mind can just relax. There's nothing to get right here. There is nothing you can get wrong here. You can just utterly relax. I will lead the journey. All you need to do is rest in your own inner light, your own spacious presence. However that works for you, I will do a little thing to get us all there together. And then take the journey with us, being with what your unique inner experience is, because that's the only thing that can inform you perfectly. My words are just going to be like breadcrumbs left on a trail to be followed, but your experience is your own spirit's illumination within you of this knowing. I'm just going to use this context to guide us to it and call it forth. So everybody take 5 really deep, really long breaths. You want to be super duper relaxed for this. When you want to lay down, honey?
Hold on, serious.
If you fall over,
It's not far.
I'll put a pillow under your head. So take those deep breaths all the way down into your belly. And on the exhale, just really relax. If you're on a couch, really, really sink into it. Let your body be totally supported by whatever you're sitting upon or laying upon. I would not suggest listening to this while you're driving or operating any heavy machinery or like cooking in the kitchen. Not a good idea. Once you've counted those 5 deep breaths, you can just let go of paying any attention to your breath. It's very powerful, but it'll take care of itself. Your body knows it needs to inhale and exhale, and it'll happen without your conscious attention. If your eyes aren't closed now, please let them close. And as they close, Just notice that inner blackness, the lack of vision. And just recognize how effortless, how easy, and how utterly simple it is to absolutely know, beyond the shadow of all potential doubt, my eyes are closed. Now just use the sovereign light of your own awareness to scan your own body. And if there's tension anywhere, if there's discomfort anywhere, just bring the light of your awareness to it and just gently invite it, just like the light of your awareness is a soft form of heat that's going to melt that discomfort away. So that your body is absolutely relaxed, supported, and safe. Now bring your awareness to your thinking mind and just notice what you notice. Is there a tendency to try and direct my body with thoughts? Is there evaluation of what John Mark's saying? Just whatever there is. Is there the grocery list for tomorrow? Just notice whatever's there. It's okay. And just let yourself be aware that what notices the thinking is not the thinker. That which notices the thoughts coming and going is not touched by them in any way. So just as we've let our body relax and our breath go on autopilot, so too can we utterly release any vigilance towards our thinking mind. Just let it go wherever it goes, whatever it does, and rest back in the light that is purely, effortlessly, simply aware. Whether that awareness is of your body, whether it's awareness of my voice, whether it's the awareness of your own thoughts, just rest in that awareness. So we've had our awareness focused exclusively on the phenomenal realm, things that come and go, things that have beginnings and ends, the body, our thoughts, sounds, and that's well and good. We can celebrate our ability to do so. But now let's turn that light of awareness upon itself, so that we begin to give our attention, our light, to be self aware, the eternal, the free, the powerful, simply abiding effortlessly in its own simple, luminous nature. And just appreciate how easy that is. don't need to invoke masters. We don't need to call in the Palladians or Syrians or anything like that. Just in the absolute sovereignty of our own consciousness, we turn awareness upon itself, we turn light upon itself, we turn being upon itself. And within that light, within that awareness, is a great creative power. And we just want to set that creative self free within us to carry us each uniquely on this journey, informing us either in feeling, in word, in image, whatever is right for us. We don't need to conjure with our mind, just set that creative aspect of your own spirit, your own light free. So now we return to the beginning, what some call the void, what in the Bible is called the darkness, a state of isness that is totally undefined. It doesn't have any properties. It doesn't have mind that holds ideas. It is the purest state of being that we might simply identify as God, unmanifest, unexpressed. Where nothing exists. No other, no object, no subject, just being, just existence with no properties. Allow your creative spirit to let you feel and know this primal state of existence, simply identified as God. And then simply, effortlessly, there's movement in that deep, in that darkness, in that void, and that isness expresses itself infinitely. And in that moment, every soul is born. An exact expression of the primal void, the primal darkness, the primal isness of God's being. Where there was one, there are now many, but they remain absolutely one, but utterly unique. Not unique because they have different qualities than the one, but that they are each absolutely sovereign, identical expressions of the one. And then in the next moment, there's the joyous realization as each sovereign aspect becomes aware of every other aspect. Every unique soul seeing and knowing as they know themselves every other soul that was just birthed into existence. Each one a unique void having no properties, but yet sovereign and unique. The perfect image of the Creator itself. The Creator that is you as that original source who chooses to manifest itself in an infinite expression of unique souls. There's still just the void. There's still only darkness. Being just is and has taken on no qualities. There's no concept of time. There's no existence of mind. Just pure, timeless, eternal being. And then that one, through the collective voice of the sum total of the many, moves. And if we gave that movement words, it would be, let there be light. And in the instant of that movement, all potentials of existence burst into potential. Not yet manifest, but as the collective of all spirits, as the one, speak, let there be light. there is a knowing. I am limitless. I am free. And rest there, because the gift of all potentials was just made manifest without a desire for it, without an intention for it, without hoping for it. The one gifting itself in its infinite, unique expressions, all possibilities. Feel that absolute receptivity. Feel your being so undefined, so unencumbered, so free that the ability to receive light itself and all potentials is effortless, simple, and oh so natural. As the many, we didn't have to choose. We didn't have to ask. We simply existed, and in our existence was birth all potentials of expression, consciousness itself, as a freeborn gift given to each of us absolutely equally. Initially, as infinite, perfect copies of the void itself, of the darkness itself, and now infinite and equal copies of that manifest as individuated points of light containing infinite potential. And as this burst forth, waves of joy cascade through the infinite points of light as freedom is realized, as the gift of the Creator as infinitely and equally and effortlessly received. And now each point of light again becomes aware of all the others, seeing the joy and the freedom and infinite possibilities reflected back to them in every other soul. Consciousness peering in the darkness upon itself, knowing only freedom, knowing no limits. And then there's another movement. And that movement comes, and if we gave it words, it would be saying, "Behold, my children, you are free. Go forth, explore the gifts of potential I have given you, and know yourself in the uniqueness that I have created in you. You are free. Be joyful." And another bursting forth as that gift effortlessly is received by each point of light. And in that instant, the process of the unmanifest potential becoming manifest started with an exquisite joy that enfolded all of existence. And points of light or souls began to move towards those manifestations, not so much as a gift from God, but as a collective expression of ourselves, to move towards them in joy, in wonder, and in discovery. Experiencing what had never been known, what could never be imagined, what before had known no existence except as an abstract potential. And as more souls enjoined manifestation, more manifestation came to be enjoyed. And souls moved freely from experience to experience, merely receiving and experiencing the new that had never been known. The eternal joy of self-discovery through the experience of what has never been known. each experience contributing to the beautiful, radiant uniqueness of each soul, and equally creating a gift to the whole. And as experiences came and were experienced and enjoyed freely, openly, without hesitation, without reservation, your uniqueness grew brighter and brighter as you began to know yourself as an expression of light through your ability to experience all manner of potential. And if it's even possible to imagine, the greatest gift is yet to come. And the greatest gift comes as points of light, uniquely now, not as a whole, but uniquely discover free will. The ability to choose, the ability to move into an experience of choice and to experience that choice however you may wish. No greater gift of uniqueness exists than our sovereign, unique, free will. Because with that individuated free will, the greatest gift of our uniqueness was bestowed. Because we could now individually choose and experience, thereby knowing our uniqueness and being a greater contribution to the whole through our uniqueness. Wow, friggin' cool. So, what if, friends, our natural state of spirit, of soul, of light is to be in effortless relationship to the unknown? We are the very field in which existence ceaselessly expands. We are the field in which the new, just as it was in the beginning, can be birthed free of any expectation, free of any need, free of any limitation based on past experiences or past choices. We can return to an original wholeness of being that has no limits to receive. What if that's the greatest choice of our free will? Not to choose from what has been known, not to choose to create a version, a better version of what we've known, but to be in reception of what has known no existence before. Riding the very edge of love and freedom as the unmanifest becomes manifest and known through our uniqueness and through our receptivity. Wow. So, what if we brought this knowing forward within each of us? What if we reawoke our original wholeness, where creation was not obligated to show up for us in a form or version that we have known before, or that we have said is okay, or that we have said is holy? But what if we can truly open to let the new come unencumbered? And what if that newness comes with its own gnosis that will inform the mind what the mind needs to know, will sponsor the actions that need to be taken, will manifest the fullness of the expression and the experience, which is the unique, ongoing expansion of your point of light. We've known what we've already known. Experiencing it for 30 more lifetimes isn't really going to increase our knowing of it. It will only delay us taking up our rightful place at the leading edge of receiving the new, the more, the greater that will effortlessly, freely be given us of ourselves if we will but turn in that direction and open. Return to that safety of that pure void, that utter blackness, which isn't death, which isn't loss. It's just the ground of our eternal being. Into the void, the Lord moved and created souls. And then existence moved, let there be light. and all potential was birthed. And then those souls woke up to their free will, and the gift of uniqueness was eternally extended. May we all return to this original wholeness, that the new can truly be birthed in us, as us, and through us for our own unique joy. And that is our contribution to the whole. The extension and expansion of existence uniquely through each one of us. No two alike, no two needing to choose the same things. Wow. It didn't fall over. So, friends, thank you for taking this journey with Cindy and I, letting us act as a little bit of a tour guide. But thank and celebrate yourself for taking a step in the journey of remembrance. And please celebrate the glory of your unique spirit's expression and movement through all that is. Because without each and every one of us equally, the whole would never remain whole. We love and celebrate you. We'll wrap up quietly tonight and let you relish in your own discovery, in your own remembrance, in your own being in this state free of prayer, free of effort, free of asking for anything. Just the very ground of your being in which the new can be birthed. We love you with an infinite love.
Perfect peace.
Be very, very well, friends.
Thank you.